Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Krause. But before we begin, if you guys could please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. So with that said, Cash, what are we reviewing today?
Oh, it's a throwback.
It is a bit of a throwback.
All the way back.
Decades.
All the way back to 1996. Wow. The golden age, man.
We were but toddlers back then.
Yeah, I was only 2, yep, but so very promising as a 2-year-old.
And I got to remember, I remember this film as a 2-year-old thinking, I really enjoy this.
Yeah, I do remember that as well.
Yes.
But yeah, going back, 1996, what an innocent time that was. Pre-internet.
Pre-internet, a lot of skateboarders.
Oh, so much skateboarding.
It was
baggy jeans.
Baggy jeans, absolutely. You got those little
puka shells.
The puka
shell necklace.
Those really hit the mainstream in the early 2000s
and
too.
Gel.
Too much hair
Teens
gel.
just discovered gel that year. It was wild, and they went hard on the gel.
And the frosted tips.
Oh, the frosted tips.
Yeah. Good times.
Not the best time for fashion, I have to admit.
No. And they all thought they were very well off in the fashion department.
Yeah, that bled over to the early 2000s as well.
It did.
Bad times.
I got to be honest. As a young kid, I did wear a few puka shell necklaces.
Of course you did.
They were a big deal back then.
Of course.
Yep.
You had to let people know you've been to the beach.
Exactly. That's the whole purpose. I'm a surfer, bro, okay?
I've been to the Oregon coast. Mm-hmm. I picked these puka shells up, and
I made
better for it. Better for it. But yeah, a good year, though, for a certain slasher film.
Yeah, you could say that.
It's kind of weird. This is one that we've never done for Halloween.
Yeah, strange.
But one we're doing now. Why not?
Why not?
The original, the OG meta slasher, Scream, 1996, directed by pretty unknown director at this time.
Never heard of him.
He was up and coming.
Up and coming guy, like 75 at the time. Yes.
He was 98 when he directed this. Wes Craven.
Yeah.
You may know from directing everything.
He literally has directed every film up until this point.
Freddy franchise. Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street, of course. Not Wrong Turn, but Last House on the Left. Hills Have Eyes.
I do love
any of these ringing some bells?
Yeah, that was the first horror film I saw in theaters, and it scared the shit out of me. Hills Have Eyes 2.
Oh, the remake?
Yeah, no, the second one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, he's pretty good. He's done some shit. All right, he's all right. But and starring just the biggest names of 1996, man. Some Neve Campbell, Courteney Cox, in the prime time of Friends.
Yeah, very interesting that she took on a role in horror. When you're on TV like that, typically, those don't mesh well.
Yeah, I heard specifically she wanted to play a bitchy character because of her character in Friends, which I don't like Friends that much. I know it's very controversial to say.
You don't like Friends? No. I enjoy having friends, if I'm being honest.
I don't like having Friends, the people, and I don't like the show either. I don't like what either of those things represent.
Double whammy. Yeah.
But yeah, Matthew Lillard, who's amazing in this. He's hamming it up.
Well,
and Shaggy.
And Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore, we got to talk about this. I remember this was very controversial because Drew Barrymore was on all the advertisements. Mm-hmm. Every poster, every trailer that made her seem like she was going to be the main character.
Yeah.
But old Wes Craven still got a few tricks up those old-timers' sleeves.
It was a hell of a trick because we see her intestines.
Yeah.
And she's hanging from a tree.
She dies in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. But you know what? That's actually really smart to promote a film that way with a big actress. Yeah. Everyone thinks she's going to be the lead in a film. And then you say, here's a curveball for you. I'm going to kill her off in the first 5 minutes. That's tremendous.
You already got their money.
You do. And speaking of money, man, this film was made from anywhere to $14 to $15 million. Turnaround at the box office made $173 million. This was a huge hit in 96.
Well, this came out 5 days before Christmas. Very straight. But it's the 90s, man. It's like the wild, wild west. It's when people could do that. So it came out, I'm sure it came out among many other great films, but it didn't do great its first week. But then word of mouth, I guess, every week leading on, it just did better and better and better.
Which is strange for a film. You don't typically see that. You know, a film like Spider-Man, Dune, whatever you want to talk about, like the opening weekend's a big deal, and then you get the trickling of money, you know, in smaller quantities week to week. So the fact that it gained traction is different.
It's a perfect film for it, though. Yeah, and they put it out during Christmas time because they wanted, you know, because it's mostly family films, so they wanted something else during Christmas time that people could go and see. And
Mom, Dad, let's go for Christmas to go see Scream.
Well, if you're taking your kids to a Wes Craven film, you should know better.
Yeah, you should. You really should. At this point, in '96,
he said 40 years of work, terrifying people.
Right.
This is kind of a weird time though, because at this point, Wes Craven has moved away from the slashers, and he was not doing as gory stuff as this. And originally he didn't want to do it because he said it was too gory.
Wow.
I know. But
That's
I guess a fan, like if I read it right, a little kid came up to him and was like, pretty much called him a pussy. Was like, where are these films like Hills Have Eyes and that were brutal films?
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? You're right, little 5-year-old. I need to make one more. And he came back and he wanted to do one more really gory slasher film.
Well, and it was gory.
That's one thing about this film. Yeah, it's the kills are great. And we got to talk about we're doing this film because
obviously Scream 5,
the
brand
newest
new
Scream,
one, is out.
The requel.
The requel. Yeah, and they made a point not to call it a sequel, but a requel.
And not a reboot either.
No, not a reboot. It's a crossbreed between a reboot and a sequel.
It's what everyone does.
Requel.
And I love that. We'll get into more of that, but a tease of the new Scream review.
Yeah, the review coming out in a day or two after this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, this film is, I don't know if you know, Mason, but pretty loved by horror fans.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I, even to this day, like when you walk out and go, Halloween, you see kids, they're still wearing the Scream mask.
Yeah,
except they got the little blood. Yeah, Ghostface. They got the little blood ones now.
I remember when they introduced that version of the mask flying off shelves.
Oh, dude, I wanted it so bad. It was so cool.
Yeah. Blood. And remember they had the knife that also had blood in it?
Yeah,
they moved around. Yeah, when But yeah, this because this film, if you haven't seen it, it's like a combination of every slasher film you've ever seen. And it's the first film, it's common to see it now, but it's the first film where in the universe people are talking about other horror films that have happened.
Right, absolutely.
No film had done that before.
No.
I mean, in any other film, they act like there's no horror films in the world. Mm. But this is the first one. It's super, use this word a lot, but very fucking meta.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this film specifically, they use obviously Michael Myers in Halloween with the opening scene of Drew Barry. And then,
Well, there's so many references just throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, but I mean, right off the bat, like you get the kind of film that it is. They talk about Halloween, and then Scream, or whoever's wearing the ghost face, it's common practice to do a little trivia, movie quiz. Those are always fun.
Yeah, it calls itself out the entire time, which is something I love about it. It's super, for a slasher film, it's got to be one of the smartest slasher films out there. That slasher films usually aren't.
And it put me in this, and I know what it is. I knew exactly what Scream is, what it is, but, I guess more specifically the new one, because I've seen this one before, but it just gives you that really tense feeling at any time. They really played that in the new one, too, to perfection. But in this one, you have a lot of false flags where you think Ghostface is going to pop up.
A lot of red herrings.
Yeah, a lot of red herrings.
Just like any good slasher does.
Of course, yeah. And you think it's going to happen, and then 3 to 5 seconds later it happens, and then you jump,
Yeah. But it never gets into, satire where they're making fun of themselves or anything like that. It's still a very scary film.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The kills, like we said earlier, are brutal. For sure. The guy gets disemboweled right at the start.
Another thing that's fascinating about the Scream franchise, and more specifically this film, the other ones, continuing, is kind of that I kind of get the Orient Express, the murder mystery vibe, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like a whodunit. Because it's someone. You just don't know who it is. So you're constantly watching these films, trying to put the pieces together of like, okay, who is it here? Who is it there? And they did a really good job like with that, especially in 96, because you don't see it coming. Like if you've never seen this film, you're not going to guess who the killer is.
Oh,
or should I say
killers? Yeah, I really wish watching it now. I wish I could go back and rewatch it for the first time again because I remember watching it and being like, "Oh fuck, that makes so much more sense." Because it always felt like Ghostface could be at two places at one time.
Right.
But what they do a really good job is making it think like at the start, you know exactly who it's gonna be. Like at the start, you're definitely thinking it's Billy Loomis.
Yeah.
Right at the start.
Yeah.
And then for the next hour and a half, they do a really good job of doing everything they can to make you think it's not Billy Loomis.
Yep.
Just for spoilers at the very end to pull the rug out from you, and it is Billy Loomis.
It is.
Plus an accomplice.
His old friend there, Stu.
Stu, who's an amazing character. But yeah, played by Matthew Lillard. Yep. The guy born to play Shaggy. He is the best Shaggy of all time. But he is amazing in this role too. He's hamming it up, but taking it very serious. Just a great performance. Especially when he gets stabbed, when they're stabbing each other. Billy, I'm dying here, man. I think you stabbed me a little too deep. Those scenes are so good with Matthew Lillard. And he's screaming, he's spitting.
Yeah, there's blood really everywhere. Yeah. He's got blood all over the phone, blood everywhere.
All right, Billy. I
think it's enough. Stabs him 2 more times. Then he asked him to help because obviously they're trying to escape. He's like, I can't move. I think I'm bleeding out. Funny, yeah. I'm like, oh God.
He's great. He's probably the best part of it in the Scream franchise. Him and, you never think of it, but Jamie Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Jamie Kennedy's amazing in this too.
He's funny too. He's a really funny guy.
Yeah, he's great as being the super meta commentary of knowing exactly what's going to happen next. And I won't get into too much, but in the new one, they go super fucking double meta.
They really do. To a point where I'm like, oh my God. But it did work. It really did work. It worked
to
great.
perfection, I thought.
And I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Because typically,
we don't need to get into that. But yeah, it's... I love the best scene, and it's the longest party scene probably in any movie ever. It goes on for like 40 minutes, this party scene. But I love when he's watching Halloween, and he's commentating on everything that's going to happen, and it's everything that's happening inside
the house. Yeah. Well, and then they do the whole surveillance, right? Because you have Weathers in there, and she's got a surveillance camera.
Gail Weathers,
yeah.
Played by Courteney Cox, of course.
Of course. the titular Courteney Cox. That doesn't work. But nonetheless, got the camera set up there, and I love it because, he's like, turn around, you idiot, turn around. Yeah. And meanwhile, Ghostface has got the knife, and he's reaching up, it's very meta.
On the 30-second delay.
Oh, so 30-second delay.
Yeah, so they didn't know, but... I loved it. Doesn't die, though.
No, he doesn't.
One thing I love about these movies, it's always cracks me up. And this movie is definitely a black comedy, for sure. But when Ghostface gets hit by anything, he's doing full somersaults.
He is. He's getting hit hard every time. Well, that's the thing,
too. It is so wacky, almost cartoony, where it's like... And he's getting hit by everything. Vases are getting thrown at him.
Chairs, lamps.
He gets hit by a door, and he... backflips.
It's getting thrown off balconies.
And they made fun of that so perfectly in the Scary Movies franchise, the movies that spoof this. Right. That it's so funny, but yeah, and they do it in the new one too, where he gets hit by everything and he's flipping into bookshelves and stuff. But takes some damage.
He does, but that's actually something that I appreciate in this film and all the films to follow. As far as it is realistic, it's not like this Ghostface is invincible like in Michael Myers, where you cannot fight him. Yeah. He is a human, and he does actually get
they're just
hit,
two kids.
So I like that. I like that turn because it actually felt in a weird way. You knew it was a slasher. You knew people were going to die. But when the fight scenes transpired, you were rooting and hoping that they weren't going to execute the kill.
Yeah, right? And like I said, it can be really funny at times, but then switch right back to really scary. I mean, with like, you know, it's been done so many times now before, but with getting like the call or whatever in the house and that guy, the voice going from like joking to fucking, if you hang up, I'll fucking kill you, you bitch. I'll gut you, you bitch. Like,
it's like, jeez.
Quick, it reminded me a lot of Black Christmas.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, which of course, probably on purpose.
Right.
Yeah, but one of the first or the first slashers, a lot of people call it. But yeah, it's definitely gets scary at times.
Yeah, it does. And the deaths are dope. I love the car garage scene.
Oh. And I'll never forget that in Scary Movie, the spoof of when, like, it's not, I mean, it's funny now to say, but when, like, the super fat chick crawls through it in Scary Movie, and, like, the garage gets stuck because it can't lift up. It's all I think of now when I see this film. But yeah, that's a brutal death.
It is.
And that's his girlfriend, too. That was Stu's.
Pretty messed up
That's what I'm saying.
individuals.
It's pretty fucked up. And the whole story of them killing her mom too.
Raping and killing.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty brutal. And they very much gave me Columbine vibes.
Yeah,
these
for
two.
sure. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I don't know when Columbine, that was 90, I think it was the same year.
Right around this time, yeah.
I think Columbine High School might have been the same year. But nonetheless, they definitely gave me Columbine vibes. Oh, it was in 99. So before this film.
Before? It's predicted it.
They did, yeah.
But yeah, it gets super, super fucking dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole story of they killed her mom because her mom slept with his dad. That made his mom live. And
then they had to separate. Their parents separated, so they hated her and her mom because of it. Yeah.
It's a fucked up story.
It is. It's very brutal. And then they framed the poor bastard. I forget his name, but they framed him.
Her
lover or whatever. They framed that guy for the rape and murder.
Oh yeah. And not even that, but they kidnapped her dad. Made it look like her dad was doing it.
Was the mass killer. Which, man, that would have sucked.
Yeah, it's
imagine getting locked up for being a serial killer and you weren't that person.
It was the perfect crime if it wasn't for the final girl, the leading lady.
Yep.
Well, and Gale Weathers comes in clutch as well, which is this. The one thing you got to believe, though, is in this town is people are getting murdered left and right, and they're still having house parties.
Still having house parties, and house really parties the neighborhood's acting like it's nothing.
And house parties that all the cops and everyone knows about.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're staking the premise. Yeah. Same with the news lady, Gail.
Does this house party have to happen?
It doesn't have to.
They're acting like we can't stop it.
Yeah, we can't. There are too many kids. It's too much of a liability.
The kids love to party. What are we going to do? What the fuck are we going to do?
Come on, there's nothing to do here in this town.
We're not bad guys.
In Woodsboro.
Yeah, it's fucking because Dewey, he's there. Mm-hmm. He's there. Gale Weathers is there knowing someone's going to get murdered. And they're all like...
just hanging out waiting for it to happen.
I mean...
It's shoddy police
in
work.
the new one, they at least they stay with that. Yeah. But it's like, yeah. And... it's just insane. I mean, it's 1996, though, you know.
It is.
They're allowing kids to smoke in school. Kids are drinking. The cops are at the parties. No one gives a fuck.
No, they don't.
There's a weather lady, I'm pretty sure, that's like hiding cameras around these houses spying on children.
Which is borderline creepy when you think about it.
Cameraman in
the van surveillancing the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Probably good thing that guy got his neck slashed.
I do always laugh when when he's on top of the van and she drives off and she's like, "Get the fuck off my van!" And he flies into like a fence. It's brutal. But man, is Ghostface good at displaying these bodies on the quick?
Yeah,
he could string a body up in seconds.
It's pretty impressive.
It makes sense that has to be two people doing this because it happens so quick.
Yep.
When Drew Barrymore gets killed first, they string her body up like 40 yards away.
They did. They did, up against the tree,
before
too.
the parents could get home.
Yeah. Poor parents. I mean, imagine coming home and seeing your child dismembered like that. It's
tough.
Yeah, I don't think you can live that one down. A lot of psychiatric help.
It is tough. Yeah, you move on though. You got to. Yeah. Yeah, it was brutal. Well, first they saw her boyfriend disemboweled. I mean, that's the initial shock. Yeah. Then you go around the house and you got to see your
your daughter. That's rough. But one interesting fact about this film is, after this movie came out, caller ID shot up more than 3 times, meaning that people were like signing up for caller ID because it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So a lot of people got caller ID after this movie.
Even though throughout the entire thing, it's an unknown caller, which anyone can do with caller ID.
Red, of course, or just
star 67.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, the fatal flaw of caller ID.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, how does that work?
How many teens has that killed? Yeah.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, but I did see that was interesting.
Yeah.
Like that was going to protect you. As long as you know who it is. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty easy for them to fake anyone out. Something else interesting is the voice of Scream is it's a completely different actor.
Yeah, it's
a guy that's the same guy. He does the voice through all of them. Although I don't think he does the voice in the new one.
It's Roger Jackson.
Yeah,
is his name, and that's the guy who does the voice. And if you look at him too, you'd be like, "What? That's the voice of that guy? That's creepy."
I guess at first it was just gonna be a placeholder, and then like that guy was just there to like read lines with them or something. And they said that Wes Craven said it was very creepy the way the guy was delivering the lines.
Yeah,
because it's almost like, I don't know. It sounds like the voice is borderline nerdy, I guess. Mm-hmm. But then, like we said, it turns dark really quick. Like he's a cinema nerd.
He is,
but very hateful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could turn very quick.
Production used over 50 gallons of blood, not real blood, obviously, movie blood, but for this film, that's just crazy. That's a lot of blood.
Well, it is a very bloody film.
It is.
People are getting stabbed. No one's getting stabbed just once. People are getting stabbed multiple times, except for the one gal that gets stuck in the crotch door.
Yeah, no, that's all it took for her.
Worst death of the film, I gotta say.
Absolutely, yeah. That's not the way I want to go.
That was so stupid. Going through easiest death for Ghostface.
Oh yeah, he's like, okay. All right,
out of here.
Moving on.
I do love that scene though, because it immediately tells you that someone is working with Ghostface, because the door was locked, and then he hits the button, and then someone opens the door for him. So there's hints throughout the entire thing that point you towards that there's multiple people. Yep. And just the whole thing of Ghostface being there, and then Billy being in like the window the next second.
Yeah,
and you know it's several people. Well, Billy using that window like it's his front door. Mm-hmm. That guy's up there constantly.
Yeah, he is, and that's such like a '90s trope too, to sneak into the window, and
parents don't even give a fuck.
When again, they set it up well with the whole cell phone too. The old cell phone that they found of him dropping it.
Yeah, yeah. Early days of cell phones for sure. You know, these people are pretty well off.
I don't know if you know this, but Billy Loomis, they offered a man this role. And his name is none other than Joaquin Phoenix, but he turned it down.
Yeah. God.
I know.
Because none of these people have gone on to do anything.
Yeah, no, not really.
Matthew Lillard was probably...
Well, I mean, I would say Courteney Cox did well off with Friends. She's a billionaire.
Well, she was already doing that during this, though. But yeah, I mean, none of them... These are all very 90s actors, and that's kind of where their career flourished.
Right.
And died, unfortunately. But Matthew Lillard, he's still in some stuff. But David Arquette, I mean, he had a stint in WWE for a while. David Arquette,
really?
Oh, he loves wrestling. Yeah.
Okay.
But Courteney Cox, I mean, what else has she done besides Friends?
She did The Longest Yard in the first 10 minutes.
She maybe has.
You put me
2
on the
minutes
spot.
of dialogue.
Yeah, I know. But I know there's something that's very
I
prominent in those films. And there are 2 of them.
Yeah.
And every time you're like,
I know she has done stuff, but like what? Nothing. She was on Cougar Town.
Oh, I do love Cougar Town. A great show.
Really?
No, I have no idea what it is.
That's stunning me. But yeah, no one here has really done that much. Rose McGowan, I mean, her life was ruined by Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, but she also said that this was the most fun she ever had on set. Yeah.
It's probably because Harvey Weinstein wasn't on set. It was Bob Weinstein, who is almost as miserable as Harvey Weinstein.
Right, I'd say Harvey, it wouldn't be fun working atmosphere if you're a woman on any set of Harvey Weinstein.
No, I know Bob Weinstein's a fucking creep, though, too, but ends up not being as bad as Harvey, though.
No.
Surprise,
surprise.
But a weird thing about Bob Weinstein, and this is just like a total power move, but he hated the look of Ghostface, the mask. He wanted it. He saw it and he said it looked idiotic, and he wanted it changed.
Really?
Yeah. What? I mean, how wrong? I mean, it
pretty
became
wrong.
One of the most
iconic horror masks of all time.
Yeah, so. But he said, but I have to think that was just like a producer thing where it's like they come on and they immediately want to change something big just to see how much they can get away with changing your entire film. But
they have to justify their jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, really.
So they immediately come on and want to change something big because if they know that you'll let them change that, then they can change anything.
Well, and it could even be as simple as a big ask, and then you actually get what you want. So, like, I'll give you $50 for those shoes, and you're like, no. I'm like, okay, I'll give you $70.
Yeah.
When they might be worth $100, But.
Yeah. But of course, it's fucking Wes Craven. Maybe I guarantee with a new director or something that would have flown. But
probably.
Wes Craven said, I'm pretty sure he said, I'll fucking walk if you change this mask. And obviously, they didn't end up changing it. And it was the right call. But that's typical of the Weinsteins coming in and wanting to change everything just to leave their own mark on the film and say, hey, I did that.
I got to be honest. One of my favorite lines in this was, did you really call the cops? And she's like, you bet your ass I did. And then Stu's like, my parents are going to be so mad. Or mom and dad are going to be so mad. It's so funny, dude. That was such a funny moment. Because I was like, God, is this guy just a true psychopath?
Yeah.
But then he's like scared about mom and dad. You just murdered a bunch of people, you crazy asshole.
For sure. And the funniest thing to me is all these guys look like they're 27.
Of course. That's the 90s high school, dude.
It is so, these guys look so much older than... that I don't know anyone else looks like.
Well, in all reality, even the new film, I was like, that guy's like 25.
yeah, some of them for sure, but it's just the clothing and other stuff. But man, it makes them look like they're super. Like to see Matthew Lillard crying about his parents. I mean, it looks like he's 24 in this. Yeah. But originally they battled. This was going to be NC-17.
Really?
And I guess. One good thing about Bob Weinstein is it was going to be NC-17. They kept cutting it. They had to do like 10 cuts. And, jeez. And it was still going to be NC-17. But then Bob Weinstein came in. I guess the thing that he told him was look at it as a comedy. And it completely changed their view of the film. And they're like, okay, yeah, you're good.
It's just so
that's
weird.
That's the only thing that changed it. Yeah.
I would have never thought it would ever be NC-17 or there'd even be discussions about it. It's not that bad.
You got to put yourself in 1996, though. It's like the satanic panic. People are freaking out about Columbine's right about to happen. They think video games are going to ruin the world.
Ruining brains.
People were scared. But in a movie about... a bunch of people get killed by
that James Bond game on Nintendo 64 almost ruined me, Cash.
Oh.
GoldenEye.
If I ever got a hold of the golden gun, people would pay.
It's such an archaic and weird thought that like video games cause that.
Still believed, for sure. But they got it down.
They did.
To a hard R, and thank God. But it's still bloody, man. It holds up. 1996, 20-some years, it still holds up as being gory and scary.
Yeah.
It's still one of the best slasher films, in my opinion.
For sure.
I recommend it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. Go see the original Scream, the 1996 Scream, starring Drew Barrymore in the whole film. In the entire film, trust me.
The titular Drew Barrymore.
All right. Cash, are we? You got anything else to add there?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, that is our review for Scream 1996. If you guys like what you're seeing here, please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause. Until next time.
Bye.